let's talk about inflation and how that applies to real estate investment and how I'm using that information in order to acquire now or inform how I'm managing my portfolio. So, what is inflation? Basically, if there's more dollars in an economy, then things just start costing more. So let's boil this back. If there's three of us sitting at a table and there are $3 and 3 candy bars, the number of dollars in the economy justify how much things cost. So each candy bar costs $1 in that situation, $3, 3 candy bars, right? But what if we were to introduce 10 times that? So for some reason, just poof, there are $3,000 now at the table and the same 3 candy bars. How much are those candy bars worth? $1,000 a piece now, just poof, out of thin air, because we put more money into the money supply. So the way that money supply is measured in the United States is by, the M1. Google that for you, but I'll just actually pull this up because it might be interesting to see. If you look over time in the 80s and 90s, 2000s, until poof, this is M1, how many dollars are in the money supply, right? And poof, we printed out the wazoo. So, talk about hockey stick. So there's an exponential number more dollars in the economy than there were a year ago, 2 years ago, right? So what does that mean? If I am locking in long-term debt, then no matter if there are $3 or $3,000 at that table, I'm locked in. I know exactly what my payment on debt will be. So for my bigger assets, I like long-term, just my personal humble opinion, I'm not an advisor. I like super long-term locked in debt because I'm basically betting that this inflation is something that's here to stay. And I'm going to leave you. So my master's degree is economics, and I kind of this piece of my brain that just thinks in those terms. And part of the reason I think inflation is here to stay is our government has made a lot of promises in terms of Medicare, Medicaid, drugs, all of these entitlement things that we have made promises on. Well, how do we get out of that? We either need to have austerity, we either need to like have way higher taxes or, way fewer things coming to us in the future. But, if I'm a politician, I feel like the easiest way to get elected is to say, I'm gonna buy you that thing, right? So I don't think that that is necessarily going to stop no matter the side of the aisle that you're on. However, if I can pay someone back in that same scenario, if I promise you $1 for a candy bar, when candy bars are worth $1, when there's $3 at that table, and then I somehow poof put $3,000 at the table and the candy bar is actually worth $3,000, but I promise to pay you $1 for it, then it feels way less, right? So it's like I'm paying you back with a way cheaper dollar, but I'm holding up my end of the bargain. I paid you that dollar I said I was going to pay you. I think that inflation is here to stay because the government needs it in order to pay back things that they've promised. And what does that do for my investments? I'm locking in, on hard assets. Buildings aren't going away. People will always need a place to live. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You always need food and shelter. So if I've locked it in on really long-term debt and I kind of just let inflation disrupt what it is that I've promised, that $1 to $1,000 example. So anyway, buy hard assets, in my opinion, lock in long-term debt, in my opinion, and go make it happen.